Hi, my name is Sam Johnson and I am a voice teacher. Today I'm going to be reacting to and analyzing Brandon Flowers of The Killers singing Read My Mind live.
On the corner of Main Street, just trying to keep it in line. You say you want to move on and
What I really like so far is as he goes to that high note, to that F, he's getting a little bit of like metallic sound in his voice, and then as he starts coming back down to the lower notes, he's keeping that forward metallic twang in his voice as he comes back down, which is helping him not fall back. Sometimes if the vowel falls back, like our tongue pulls back and stuff, but keeping that forward placement is a really, really nice way to stay consistent in your lower registers.
you say I'm falling behind. Can you read my mind? Can you read my mind?
So far, I would want to make sure that he has a consistent breath flow. If I was working with him, I would probably do some semi-occluded vocal tract exercises like fricatives, holding out on a Z or a V or something to make sure that that's remaining stable. It just sounds a little bit questionable to me. He's doing fine. It sounds great. It sounds easy, but I just want to make sure that we can get it as great as he could be.
Never really gave up.
But then when he got to that part, when he goes to the high notes, it sounds even again. It's kind of just when he starts going back down, I wonder if he's disengaging a little bit.
Breaking out of this two-star town, I got the green light and I got a little fight. I'm gonna turn this thing around. Can you read my mind? Can you read my mind? The good old days, the honest man, the restless heart, the promised land, a subtle kiss that no one sees.
I love how narrow he's getting at the top, but I wonder if he's over narrowing a little bit just because it's sounding a little bit compressed. I mean, we need some compression to keep the chords together and make sure everything is working smoothly, but it's just a little bit of extra compression when he jumps up to that F sharp area that I think that if we could just relax that a little bit, it might feel a little bit easier. But again, it's easy and it's fine, and I'd rather have him over narrowing like that than trying to just pull chest voice up like crazy. But both ways you can get a little bit of extra compression. It's nice to find the place in the middle.
A broken wrist and a big trapeze. Well, I don't mind if you don't mind.
And right there, when he goes up there, it didn't sound as much compressed as it sounded like he was just letting it move up into his nose a little bit. So the feeling generally moves up and down when people sing. Like low notes, you might feel a lot more in your chest. High notes, you might feel a lot more in your head. That's generally how it goes. With what he just did, it probably went up into his head, that feeling, and he embraced it. He kind of let it go into this more nasal quality sound, but that sound is also pretty even across his range. So it's not like it sounds like it's popping out of the texture at the top of his voice. It's just letting him hold on a little bit easier. It's also helping to relieve some of that tension that he gets from over compressing. So I think that's a really cool strategy. And you can tell because he went into this very narrow place, but it didn't sound like he was pushing into it. It just sounded like it was ringing in his nose a little bit more, ringing in his head.
I don't shine if you don't shine before you go. Can you read my mind?
It's just things like that where he starts coming back down that sometimes it sounds like he disengages a little bit. It could be more of a stylistic thing going between a little bit of a extreme. Like it's not even too extreme. It's just going from slightly more compressed sound to relaxing it a little bit, but it sounds a little bit more uncontrolled.
It's funny how you just break
Love that.
down.
That time he let it open up a little bit more. That time it didn't have that extra compressed sound to it. And it's interesting because Maybe it's because he's starting to get louder. He feels like he can open up a little bit more, but I wish that he had this kind of vowel, this kind of sound for the beginning part and just not pressed into it as much.
You waiting on some sign? I pull up to the front of your driveway with magic soaking my spine. Can you read my mind?
Nice. Yeah, I think that those low notes mostly are just to prepare for high notes. It's not over compressing anything at the bottom so that he doesn't have to change anything as he goes higher. I do think we could still make it more even rather than just dropping off at the bottom.
Can you read my mind?
Yeah, that's nice.
The teenage queen, the loaded gun, the drop-dead dream, the chosen one, a southern
He's singing really well.
world unseen, the city.
It's just kind of Kermiting up at the top, like just that little bit of sound. It's not a completely true nasal. It's not just over-compressing, but there's some sort of extra tension that's giving him this sound. That, like, it's almost on this direction. It's not all the way there, but something is tensing up a little bit as he goes up to that higher note to give him that sound. It still sounds easy, it's just got a little bit of a different tone to it.
You don't mind, 'cause I don't shine. If you don't shine before you jump, tell me what you find. You read my mind. Slipping in my faith until I fall.
See, right there, it feels like he's got a little bit more of that compressed sound again, where I didn't hear that a few phrases before, where it was just a little bit more open. So, I don't know, I feel like that was just a little bit of a press into it right there, rather than letting it be as easy as it could be. But I'm getting very, very picky with this. He's obviously really good, and at that point, all of my observations are just these teeny picky things that probably most people wouldn't really like hear the difference, but usually the artist can feel a little bit different so that it feels a little easier. And to me, that's all that matters, is that it feels super easy.
You never return that call. Woman, open the door.
Yeah, and then it's back to not... it just presses in a little bit more throughout the whole phrase. It's right on the edge of where I think it matters, though.
'Cause I don't shine if you don't shine. Put your back on me, put your back on me, put your back on me.
Yeah, it's just a little bit with the vowel where it's creating a little bit of extra compression, and there is a little bit of extra pressure coming from below, that I think that if we could just relax that stuff, he could get all of these sounds without this feeling of push. And for him, I think it's just a really small feeling. I don't think he's really flexing or bearing down super hard or doing other things that are going to create like a super compressed sound, because he is going up to this place regularly without blasting it, and it sounds pretty easy. It's just a little bit of extra effort that I hear in the sound. And so I think if we can strip that effort away, then go into the same sort of emotional state, you'd be able to express yourself just as easily, but it would feel easier. So, yeah.
Put your back on me. Stars are blazing like rebel diamonds, cut out of the sun. You read my mind. Before you jump.
So like on that one, when he went up to jump, it was just a little bit wider of a vowel. If you went to when, then you jump, just a slight change towards I think that would have made it a little bit smoother going up to it. Again, it's just a very small change. Right there, that was it. It's basically making Jump feel like how he sang You.
Before you go, can you read my mind?
Nice. And then as he came back down to the bottom part, read my mind, he stayed a little bit more engaged that time rather than letting go. So that's kind of what I was hoping that he would do for most of the song. But he's shown that he can do these things. It's just choosing when to do them and deciding how they affect the feeling so that it can feel as smooth as possible. So this song only goes up to an F sharp in the vocal part, which isn't super, super high. It's at the top part of Men's first bridge, and that can be a really hard place in the voice. Like for me, that's my least favorite part of the voice to just go up to over and over, and it's because you can get away with adding a little bit of too much extra weight or too much pressure. You can just push into that place a little bit too easily. If you had to start going up a little bit higher, you wouldn't be able to get away with that, and you'd have to dial in the technique a little bit more. I prefer having the melody jump up a little bit higher because it helps reduce the pressure. Because he's going up to this F sharp so much, you have to be a little bit more conscious about if you're introducing extra pressure or too much compression, just because this part of the voice is so volatile, and if you can reduce the tension right through this area, the whole voice kind of opens up. So he's doing things super, super well. It's just got a little bit of an extra push to it, a little bit of extra tension that I don't think we need. I think you can get the same sort of sounds that you're looking for without that extra tension. But again, it's such a small difference that it's really just for sustainability, and I think that that's worth it. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe and click that notification bell so that you see any of my new videos. Go check out my description below where there's a link to my Patreon, my Instagram, and my website. Thank you.